Welcome, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Professor Nna. How would you assess the overall conduct and credibility of the recent by-elections across states like, Kano, Edo, and even Oyo? Professor Nna, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I was asking you, how would you assess the by-elections that happened across the states, especially Kano and Edo State?
Yes, I was trying to analyze that. You see, INEC has not been doing what it's supposed to do as an umpire. If you look at what happened in Kano, let me start with Kano, for instance. A situation where APC is winning a major election in Kano leaves much to be desired, because people know what Kano stands for. Don't forget the Emirship tussle has been there. Don't equally forget the former chairman of APC and the flag bearer of NNPP tussle for the soul of Kano State. And this election, APC have shown what they are known for. You see, it beats my imagination. I was reading one of the stories this evening, and it said that about 300 thugs were arrested in a by-election. Recall that Canada, a court in Canada, declared APC and PDP a terrorist organization, and they are contesting that. Look at what is happening in a by-election. You have thugs, about 300 thugs in a by-election. It leaves much to be desired. That of Edo, we know what has been going on in Edo. The soul of Edo has been stolen by APC, and they want to consolidate that. Recall that in by-elections, most people don't take it seriously. I was listening to the other gentleman. He made some valid point. Yes, in by-elections, it's only the party faithfuls, in most cases, that come out to vote in by-election. I think the apathy in Edo will be, after the governorship election, they knew what transpired, and at the end of the day, the court did not help matters. So, to them, what does it take to go and waste your time? Look at the people being arrested. And that's an election, that is a by-election. It's not a major election. Look at it. The people that are being arrested for, look at the guns that people are showing there. So why are they contesting that they are not a terrorist organization? Why are they contesting that? If in a by-election they will carry guns, they will carry clothes to do what? Make people. It is.
Let me ask Barrister Vincent now. What do you think? Of course, with the APC's victory in Edo, what do you think is happening, or do you think this suggests or this affects any shifting, any political shift when it comes to political alignments ahead of the 2027 general elections? Do you think the outcome in Edo State affects it in any way?
I don't think so. I don't think so. What has happened in Edo State is what Nigerian election is characterized with known for. A case where whoever is in power as a governor, we take it on. So what happened in Edo is not a case. It's not different from what has happened in the previous elections. And beyond Edo too, other states, Nigeria, other federal constituencies. So I don't think there's any new thing that have happened in Edo State. But the people that were declared the winners for the state, the constituency and the senatorial election, INEC has to do more beyond just conducting elections and announcement of a result. The people need to be assured that their vote counts. Yes, there are some cases of large turnout of voters in the yesterday by elections. But in some cases, you have a low turnout and the voter apathy recorded. INEC has to do more beyond in preparation for 2027. So I won't say it's a case of realignment with respect to what realignment or political, shifting as to what will happen in 2027. 2027 is pregnant, and I don't know what will come on board that time. whether a man, a boy, or a girl will be delivered. But beyond that point, INEC need to get it right. We cannot use this by-election. It's just too quite insignificant to measure what will happen in 2027, because the by-election was conducted in 16 constituencies. That is for 5 federal constituencies, 2 senatorial districts, and 9 state constituencies. So that is too small to be able to judge what will happen. So I don't see anything that happened in Edo as different from what has happened in other places. INEC need to do more. Why do we still talk about election, violence on election day? Why do we still talk about that? There are provisions in the Electoral Act that criminalize violence and vote buying. Section 121, 124, 123, up from 121 to 130 of the Electoral Act, who borders on electoral offenses, have established this or criminalized all these actions. And it's a question of arresting and prosecution. It's a question of lying them down in Kano State, those arrested with the cutlasses and machetes and guns. It's a question of parading them. Let the law be implemented. INEC is overwhelmed. INEC will monitor political parties' primaries and conduct. INEC will conduct election, general election, by-election, rerun elections. INEC will monitor the affairs of political party primaries and what have meetings and what have you. It is beyond INEC. And you see, want INEC to arrest these persons who have engaged in electoral offenses and still prosecute them in line with the election they are conducting. Yesterday, they were conducting an election, they are counting votes, they are recording what their duties surrounding the Electoral Act. I still want them to be arrested and at the end of the day to still prosecute, whereas they will still have to defend their declaration and go to court to defend whatever they declared against the people that lost out. So there should be establishment of electoral offences tribunal, which will be charged with responsibility to cater for, to be administered by the Election Protection Commission, Electoral Offences Commission, to be administered by the Electoral Offences Tribunal, to punish offences of electoral. Okay, look at Kano. Almost to 300, like my fellow have mentioned. 288 persons arrested with cutlasses and what have you. Now take of Zamfara state. In Zamfara, I think in Kajua Kaji Primary School, they say thugs invaded the place and disrupted the electoral proceedings going on. And there was accusation by the spokesperson of APC in Zamfara state and said that it was the thugs, the state-owned security apparatus, that invaded the place and chased people out and disrupted in one out of the 2 polling units.
Barrister Vincent, I'm going to come back to you with another question, but let me ask Professor Nna now. Talking about Kano, right? The NPP and the APC both recorded significant wins in that state. What does this tell us about the political landscape in the northwest region of Nigeria?
Well, I don't know what else you're looking for. There is a struggle. You know, election is about population. And that's why the APC is, working tenaciously to conquer Kano and the River States. These are 2 states that don't just have the population, like for Rivers. They don't just have the population, they have the money too. So at the end of the day, they are fighting for the soul of these states. And that is why you saw what transpired yesterday. Naturally, the party in power will always have its way. Look at the last general election. Immediately after the general election, that's the federal elections, the presidency, the House of Rep, and the Senate. When it came to states, you saw what transpired. People that won states during the presidency could not win the states because now the states came to entrench themselves, use whatever means they have, and ask you to go to court because that's the bane of Nigerian political arena. They just do whatever they like. It has been said severally that INEC should be unbundled. I don't know why they are not doing that. Maybe because people in power feels that unbundling INEC will not cover them. Otherwise, what will it cost to unbundle INEC? So that if they say that the duty they have now is overwhelming, let's unbundle it and create some other agencies so that they focus just on election. And let's see if the glitches will stop.
Now, I'll come back to you now, Barrister Vincent. Now, the PDP has condemned electoral violence in Kano. And when it comes to violence, and when it comes to electoral violence, this is something that always comes up every time we talk about elections in Nigeria. What is the best way to curb this?
First of all, it's not about condemning electoral violence in Kano State. It happened in 2023 general election. It has repeated itself yesterday. 2027 election, what are the measures put in place to checkmate this? Which we have continued to clamor for this and what have you. So the measures to put in place to arrest this ugly situation is that, one, deployment of police officers on election duty. Police should be deployed more. But in most cases, you still have accusation that police people will be there where party agents will commit these offenses and somebody will look the other way around, the other way. Like in some other places we recorded yesterday. So we need to strengthen INEC by unbundling, by removing all this issue that has to do with electoral offenses, arrest and the prosecution. Because when you arrest, like when they have paraded them on television today, lying them down, that is not enough. That is ceremonial. Take them to court. Prosecute them, let them be convicted and somebody serve sentence in prison, as the case may be. That will serve as a deterrence for people who want to commit similar offenses in future, as the case may be. So we need to amend the Electoral Act to streamline, to even increase the punishment beyond the 1 year imprisonment and what have you as contained therein. We need to do more. Then the involvement of state security agencies, state-owned security agencies like what is in the state spokesperson of APC in Zamfara have said, for the Zamfara state have said, not APC, the Zamfara state special advisor to the governor said that it is the community guys that have to complement the effort of the police. Whereas police have said, we do not need any state-owned police security outfit to participate in the election because there is no provision in the Constitution presently that allows them to participate other than to come and influence what they are doing, as the case may be. So we need to amend the Electoral Act, create a special court for that. Like you have investment and the securities tribunal that has to do with investment offenses and what have you, which is being administered through SEC, as this case may be. So we need to establish, it's not out of plate. Code of Conduct Bureau is there, which is a tribunal charged for offenses administered by Code of Conduct Tribunal, being administered by Code of Conduct Bureau, as the case may be. So we need to amend all this and empower this amend the law to have this establishment, as the case may be. In Ogun State, there was arrest of a state chairman of a political party, another fellow, and 2 INEC officers as alleged involved in that actions. So that could lead, when you see, and this is provocative, when you see these things happen by political party agents and INEC in this case, is capable of provoking the opponent to engage in violence. So let us enforce the law. It's a question of enforcement of the law. Then the government need to do more. Those elected into power need to do more. They must see election that the governance and politics is not about winning election. It's about delivering to the people. One of the African presidents have said that what right has a subsistence farmer if he scratches a bare living from the soil, provided the land did not fail.
All right. Let me come back. Let me ask Professor Nna this question now.
All these are meaningless.
All right, I'll come back to you, but let me ask Professor Nna this question. Do you think the voter turnout in these by-elections, reflects a glowing political engagement or voter apathy?
Well, naturally there will be voter apathy because going forward, people have seen that their votes don't count. Like I said earlier, it's only the party faithfuls and people that the people contesting the election went to plead with to come and vote that came out. A lot of people might not even know that there was an election going on. For instance, apart from the news item, I didn't know that there were by-elections going on. Although I am not in Lagos, and that does not mean that INEC voter education, they are not doing much. They should be able to educate people on how to vote on election day. The voter education is not there. That's why we are saying, I think that they are beating more than they can chew. It should be abandoned. Let other agencies handle some of these things. Let's see how it's going to pan out. Because a lot of things are being muddled up by INEC, and they are not moving forward. We are at a spot. Every year we are saying the same thing. 2027 is by the corner. And when that time comes, it will still be the same rhetorics. And nobody's changing anything. So I think that INEC is not doing enough. And government is capitalizing on those loopholes to do whatever they are doing. When I say government now, in the states, not the federal government alone, in the states, you only see that the governors in charge want their men to be there by hook or crook. So these things have to be checked. And the only way you can check it is to have a body that will, not just like you saw those people paraded on the screen, and it will end there. By tomorrow, all of them will be released. See, these things didn't start today. I was a presiding officer in 1979 with FEDECO. I know what MTN did then. MPN, sorry. They would tell the agents, go out there, do this for us. At the end of the day, if they arrest you, we're going to release you. And they were living up to their billing. It has continued up to this moment. These people that are arrested today, mark my words, before the end of this week, all of them will be released. And that's why nothing is happening. Because when there are no punishment for offenses, rather you reward people that have bad behavior. We had incidents of somebody, trying to cause problems. At the end of the day, they are giving him an ambassadorial position of an agency. So what are we talking about? When you reward bad behavior, you expect people to continue in that way.
All right, I'm going to ask this last question. That's to Barrister Vincent now. Both of you have mentioned the fact that INEC needs to do more, but what would you say should be done to ensure that INEC is more effective in the forthcoming elections?
First of all, thank you for that wonderful question. First of all, the provisions of Section 60, Section 60, 50, 64 of the Electoral Act need to be amended. For now, Section 60 provided that the duties of a presiding officer at a polling unit, where your election accreditation by Section 47 accreditation by modal voter accreditation system, use of beavers to accredit. And after voting, sorting and counting, you have to snap and transfer to the server, IREP, as the case may be. Now, that is Section 60 of the Electoral Act. Now, as it stands today, Supreme Court in the case of Atiku versus INEC, that's arising from 2023 presidential election, handed down a judgment and
Barrister Vincent, can you hear me? Are you still there?
Frustration, right. I would say, to that is not mandatory act, but in the INEC yes, I'm with you. Beavers is contained in the INEC manual, but not in the Electoral Act. Even though INEC have Beavers, that manual is a subsidiary legislation which INEC made in the exercise of their powers under Section 160 of the Constitution. So we need to do more to encourage electronic transmission of results. We need to make it mandatory because this issue of electoral violence, if you know that even if we cause wahala at the polling unit to do everything, and the transmission of the result will be just snapped and transmitted to somewhere else. And from there, they will announce the result. Why do you need to bother yourself, kill yourself? Let us introduce more technology. There should be an amendment to Electoral Act that INEC should do what? Issue certification of all equipment and electronic and electronics and whatever they have to use. That's technologies to be deployed in the election. INEC should call political parties for a meeting before the election and say, we have tested and is fit and proper for the election. A certificate of fitness or whatever issued, which may be certified by an independent body, not INEC, as the case may be. Just like what we witnessed in 2023 presidential election, there was a glitches that stopped the transmission. Now, is it that somebody switched the server, or there was a thunderstorm that struck down the server? INEC have not answered it. In your manuals, plus 38 of your manuals for coming to election have specified that election results should be transmitted electronically. So this back and front, we need to get it right, especially now that we are amending the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, so as to strengthen INEC more, so as to not to give INEC this discretion to choose anyhow they want the election to go, they will choose it at the case meeting. Let it be mandatory, let it be compulsory that in a failure to use beavers to accredit, or because in 2023 election, there are some areas where beavers was not used to accredit the voters, and they are allowed to vote manually. So
all right, gentlemen,
we need to get this right. So INEC will be strengthened more.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I know we have a lot to talk about, but we're really pressed for time. But thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.